Hey, what's up, everybody? Hopefully we are live and kicking and in good shape for an Orbital Alliance live stream tonight on Wednesday night. Not at 8 p.m., instead 8:50 p.m. Sorry we're a little bit late here. Sorry we're a little bit off of schedule. The last week has been, I wasn't on last week, and this week I'm late, so sorry. But, you know, life is life, and I am trying to live it the best I can. So I sidelined the stream last week, and it was a little bit off of the schedule. Got to connect with an old friend again, so it was cool. So we got back a little bit later. But yeah, so here I am. Welcome back to the nerd space. My workstation, Funko featured desk. If you're out there, say hey in the stream. Oh, hey, we already got somebody. What's up, Josh? Hey, man, hope your family's doing well. Pretty crazy stuff. Sorry to hear about that. But yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. As long as everything is okay, I'm glad you're here. Let's chill out. Let's have some fun. And let's make fun of me. But if you're watching out there, we'd love to hear from you in the chat. A couple of thoughts I had around tonight. I'm gonna do the featured Funko, and I'm gonna do space news the best I can remember it. Ron reminded me in person, who's on the stream regularly. He reminded me to talk about a couple things, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what they were. So sorry, Ron, if you're on there, Ron, chime in and remind me. And then I wanted to talk about a specific subject tonight, which I've been thinking about a lot, and that is astronaut training. That's like, I mean, gosh, you could probably spend a couple of live streams talking about that. So I have some like subject matter to talk about tonight. So bring your questions about astronaut training. What does it take to become an astronaut? I'll do my best to share what I know. And hopefully we will learn a little bit more together, especially if you guys ask questions, because it helps me learn too. And if I'm learning, that means somebody else is learning on the stream, because they probably had the same question, or they didn't know that question, but now they do because you asked it, which is great. So let's see here. Yeah, I think everything is good. How does the stream look to you guys? I'm getting a notification in YouTube saying that there's a 0 bit rate, but OBS shows green light. So how's the stream look? Probably could just open it myself and see. So pardon me as I check that out. Oh gosh. Okay, totally unrelated to space. Who out there has watched Ted Lasso? Because I just saw the music pop up in my YouTube page, because I've been listening to the soundtrack a lot. Yeah, stream looks good. Maybe a little quiet. Am I quiet? Maybe I'm a bit quiet. Boost my mic a bit. Cool. Well, anyway, yeah, Ted Lasso, super fun show. My wife and I have been watching the first season, and we just finished the first season last night, and we loved it. It's so funny, really irreverent at times, but it's a very, very, very funny show. Not a family show, not a family show at all. Adults only, but it's really, really well written humor, and we're really looking forward to season 2. So, Josh has not seen Ted Lasso. Sorry, Josh, but you should watch it. And Kayla, yeah, there we go. Hand raised, yes. And I will also take that as a collective high five to my wife out there for watching Ted Lasso with me. And thanks to everyone out there who suggested we watch it. There was a lot of people who were getting down our necks, like, you need to watch Ted Lasso. They're like, you would love it. I get a lot of that. You would love it. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. I break. And I have no regrets. And thank you, everybody, for accusing me of being lazy and not watching it. I don't regret it at all. Yeah, red. Yeah, a lot of red today. Technically, it's hard to tell. Maybe you can see it a little bit there, like up in here. I have the top light. This like lamp here has like this adjustable arm, and then there's like a lamp that's like facing upward. It's like a flood lamp, That one's purple. So I went with, this is a Darth Revan influence, Josh, 100%. So red and purple up top. For a while, I did have my full computer that. I think you remember that. I sent that to you. No, you did not miss the Funko. I haven't done it yet. I'll get to it. So this is a little bit of Darth Revan influence, the red and purple. But it's very red. And the color temperature on my camera, the GoPro, always defaults to a very warm color temperature. I think this looks a little bit more accurate. When I went up here, it was like, I mean, I go Oompa Loompa orange. Look at that. It really adjusts for it. Maybe I'll keep it further down. Keep the color temperature a little bit more human. Let it adjust to my skin there for a second. Yeah, see, there we go. It's a little bit better. There's the orange. There's no winning. There's no winning. So yeah, hopefully I stay in decent color. So yeah, let me pick the Funko of the week. You know, I silently picked a Funko for last week. I'll do last week and this week because I missed last week. I'll make it up to you. We'll do 2 Funkos. And actually might even raise you a little bit more. So if you're new to the stream, and this is the first time watching, we do a Funko Pop feature of the week. It has nothing to do with space. It's just fun, all right? So just hang in there. Bear with me. I pick a Funko off my shelf. I just did a tally, and Josh, I was talking about this. Like, I typically count, but I've acquired a few more Funkos over time, and I hadn't counted my collection total. But I have 70 now, 70. And I'm slightly ashamed at that fact. I'm also slightly proud. Maybe it's like a 51% proud, 49% ashamed. But I love it. They're super fun. And you get to like have little bits and pieces of your favorite things right next to you all the time. And they have so many Funkos from so many different things. And I'm giving you my back here for a moment. So last week was Valentine's week. And I have one set of Funkos that covers that week. So I'm actually going to do last week's, and I'm going to actually do not one Funko. Hold on. This is going to take a little bit of work. For all of you who've tuned in for a space stream, you're not getting it right now. Hang on. I have 10 Funkos that I've kept in the box. 3 of them have case protectors on them because I care about them that much, and I need a 4th one, to be honest, for the 4th one that I care about a lot. This is going to get ridiculous. Maybe I need to move this somewhere else, like back here. Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right. If anyone else was watching this, they have now left the stream. They have completely walked away from this. They're like, I thought I was going to learn about space tonight. Well, joke's on you. Tonight's like the overload of Funko features to become the Funko stream. Okay, now I can... All right, so here we go. All right, so last week, Valentine's week, I have a set of last year, 2021's Valentine's Day Star Wars, their pink edition Funko Pops. Here's the Stormtrooper. And on their base, they have a little message. And they're like, is this Stormtrooper's holding a box of chocolates? And this one says, goodness. You're the droid I'm looking for. So I'm going to put that one back because I don't have space here. Next, I have Yoda holding a box of chocolates, and he's pink. Also note the little heart up here in the corner for the number. Those usually aren't. See, like normally they're like a circle, like in this Captain America one here. It's a little circle. But the number. So I have Yoda, and his says, "Mine will you be?" Question mark. I have Valentine's Day Chewbacca. Can you see that? And he's also got a box of chocolates. And his message is, "I choose you." Like spelled like Chewbacca. Can you guys see that? I choose you. Yeah, they're mega corny. They're like the weakest puns you could possibly come up with. All right, my desk is finally starting to clear up here. All right, and then this was the limited edition one that was exclusive to the Funko shop. You couldn't get anywhere else. R2-D2. Or as my daughter likes to call him, E2E2. I think she's getting better at saying R2D2. When she first started learning him, she called him E2E2. He also has a box of chocolates, of course. You catching on the pattern here? And I don't know if he does have a message. Gosh, these are so bad. You are too cute. That's what this one says. It's kind of tucked away in the back. It's hard to see. Okay, and I'm going to rearrange these a little bit. I'm going to put Darth Malak up here. Okay. And then lastly, for last week's featured Funko, we have Darth Vader Valentine's Day edition. Again, holding the box of chocolates. It looks like he's also force choking. Yeah, he's choking you with his hand. He's got the, he's doing this, which he does to choke people with the force. He's choking you and giving you a box of chocolates. What? What? That makes no sense. And he says, join the heart side. Join the heart side. Somebody at Funko either got a raise or was fired. I don't know which, but one of the two happened. So that's last week's featured Funko. That's 5 Funkos. So I'm going to pick a different one for this week to feature Funkos. Oh, yeah, here's a good one. I don't think I've featured him. I don't think I have. I'm currently replaying for the, third time, at least. And some change. I know I've played it again in parts here and there, but I've been replaying Assassin's Creed 2. The Ezio collection has Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations, which you got the poster of right here. So the main character, Ezio Auditore, da Firenze. Yeah, so I have Ezio. He's the featured Funko of the week. He's an assassin. Absolutely love those games. One of my favorite games of all time, Assassin's Creed 2. All 3 of those. I might just lump it in the Ezio collection because, he's amazing. But he's Italian Renaissance era. It takes place in the Renaissance and maybe slightly after once you get to the 3rd game. But I love Assassin's Creed. And shout out to Travis for giving me this Funko. And a bunch of other Funko Assassins, which I've gotten here too. I think I have 4 of them. But they're all great. So Ezio, welcome to the featured club. I don't think I've featured you yet. Now let me put all these back. It took forever. Hey, Ron. Thanks for joining so late. Sorry I'm late. It seems like Josh was going to throw up. Sorry. So all the ones I have in my boxes up here, the 10 that I have, of course, you saw all 5 Valentine's Day ones. I thought those are special edition ones. They probably retain some value at some point in the future, so why not keep them in the box? And then I've got the 4 Knights of the Old Republic ones, Star Wars ones here. Those are extra special to me, and I know those will retain value, period, because it's such an amazing game, and it's legendary. There's no way that those are going to lose value. And then this one is Captain America 1940s edition with the actual shield, not the cap shield that we all know, the round one, the vibranium shield. But he's got the World War II helmet, which I love, the goggles, the jacket, the ammo belt. This is freshly serumed Captain America. And I want to thank my friend Dan for giving this to me a couple years ago. But I've been preserving it in the box as well because he is a huge Funko collector, and it's a convention exclusive, so I felt like it was worth keeping in the box. Even though I really love to take this one out because I've got another Captain America, a couple other Marvel ones here. Okay, now I gotta get these back up. The Client from The Mandalorian, Grogu, also from The Mandalorian, Cara Dune from The Mandalorian, and I've moved some of mine onto my desk here. I've got new Boba Fett, also from the Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian. This is the latest edition. Kaylee got this for me. Nice little surprise I came home to one day. So thank you very much. You know me too well. Yeah, next to Din Djarin, Luke Skywalker, and Ahsoka Tano down here. And I did bring out Da Vinci. Maybe we'll put Da Vinci next to I know we featured Da Vinci before, but he hangs out with Ezio in the game, so he's gonna go there. What's up, James? Hey. I'll see you in the morning, James. I get a double dose of James. This is great. And Ron, great hoodie representing, as the kids used to say. Yes. Production crew, PC. I think everyone on the stream just about knows what that is. If you're new to the stream, you don't know me. I used to work at my church on the production team, and we made these dope hoodies that zip up, and on the back it says production crew. There we go. Look at that. Very spacey, very Jetsons. That was my request to our graphic designer at the time. I was like, please make it look space age. Silver on black. I thought it was really cool. It is also the most comfy hoodie ever. I wear it all the time. I wear it too much. It makes you also feel like a Sith Lord when you wear the hoodie. So, I mean, can you really go wrong? It's great. So anyway, let's get into the space stuff because I am lagging way behind. So, not that there's a time limit, but yeah. So I mentioned, if you guys are just joining in here, Ron asked, am I on camera tomorrow? I am video director. For what? What is tomorrow? Thursday. Is there something going on Thursday? Or are you talking to James? Anyway, so yeah, I was like, Ron, maybe you can remind me of the things we were supposed to talk about for space news that you mentioned to me on Sunday 2 weeks ago, because I, of course, didn't stream last week, and I would like to talk about those things, and I'm struggling to remember what they are. So for space news, here's something fun. Haley Arsenault, who was the cancer survivor, the childhood cancer survivor who flew on Inspiration 4 last September. She, is now a flown astronaut, and she's been to space for 3 days on a Crew Dragon 2. She has a remarkable story, and you can watch it in the Netflix special Countdown, which is the 4-episode series that documents that whole mission. It's amazing. Go watch it. She just announced yesterday or today. Maybe it was today. I think it was today. She is writing a book, and it's coming out in the fall. I wonder if I can find the Haley Arsenault, remarkable young woman who's done a lot. And she also just started a TikTok to show off some of the footage that she took in space, which is incredible. So you can follow her on TikTok at Haley Arc, HAYLEYARC. Let's see. Okay, so it's a memoir, a 3-book deal with, she signed a 3-book deal with Random House, huge publisher. It's called Wild Ride, and I'm going to pull up the Twitter post here for you guys. Screen share. Boom. All right, there we go. Let's zoom in. So Haley Arsenault, there's her name up there. Thrilled to share the news of my book with you all. It will be published in September, but is available for pre-order today wherever books are sold. Here's an Amazon link. I poured my heart into this memoir and share what I've learned along the wild ride of my life, which has led to a very, very amazing adventure. Cool, really cool cover. It's a wild ride, a memoir of IV drips and rocket ships. It's really clever. Huge fan of the design. And I would love to read this for sure. But again, you can watch the documentary until September when it comes out. But if you're into looking for something new, I would recommend supporting Haley and her cause. She's done so much, and she's been not only did she survive cancer as like a 10-year-old or something like that, and she has like a prosthetic bone in her left leg, I think. She's been a physician's assistant at here, I'll switch back to my camera, at St. Jude Children's Hospital, where she was treated, and she has to give back to kids who are going through the same thing she did or worse, by being able to support them and, help them like go through their treatments, as someone who went through the treatments, which I'm sure makes all the difference in the world for kids. So that alone is insane. But then they got to use her story, to help fundraise. The Inspiration 4 mission was used to fundraise for St. Jude. So she was kind of the poster child. I don't mean that in an acidic way. Is that an acidic term, poster child? I literally mean it like she was like the face of the mission because of that. And it was amazing. So yeah, now she's writing a book. She's kind of encapsulating her whole life, not just the space part, but of her story. So highly recommended. Oh, I just minimized this. Let's see. Oh, church leaders are getting together. Okay. Yeah, I actually didn't know about that. So I won't be. I will not be there. Let's see. Okay, failed rocket launch. Gosh, so much time has gone by already. That was at this point like 2.5 weeks ago. Which one was that? Why am I blanking out? Which one failed? Astra. It was Astra, wasn't it? Oh, unstaffed. Oh, okay. Unstacked. Oh, got it. Okay. There's a series of stuff there. I'm catching up. Yeah. There was I think it was the Astra rocket. They were launching a payload for NASA, I think. And Astra is a smaller up and coming space company, has actually had an unfortunate track record of failed launches, or problematic launches. I can't remember if they've had a successful one or not, but this was supposed to be kind of like the most confident one, and it failed on ascent. So, launched in the second stage, jettisoned, but didn't make it to orbit, and they lost the payload, which is a big deal. But I feel for that company. And they launch out of Alaska, which is cool. It's an American company. And, I mean, not many places launch out of Alaska. I think that's the only one. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that was big space news. Sorry, I'm adjusting my mic here. Sorry if I'm creating a lot of feedback. So, yeah, thank you for sending the notes. SpaceX stacked and unstacked. Yes. So we've talked a little bit on the stream about SpaceX and Starship. So Starship is the latest and greatest thing to happen to spaceflight, period. I can find a picture of Starship for you. Maybe I'll go to SpaceX.com. So SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, is building a new rocket that is going to carry the most people ever held by rocket. It's going to be the biggest payloads ever. It's going to be able to travel interplanetarily. It's crazy. And they're building it down in Boca Chica, Texas, which is also now known as Starbase, Texas. And they've gone through several iterations. It's a test site. Here we go. Here's one of the prototypes that they launched. There's Starship. If you guys have never seen Starship before. This is a prototype, so it's going to look like this, the shape, but this is like really like kind of a crude looking prototype version of it. It's going to have, you can see this is an earlier one, SN15, I think it said. So they name them SN Starship number 15 or something like that. I can't remember what it stands for. But let's see. Pardon me. Yeah, they're building it out. They launch and they're doing like orbital hops, or doing suborbital hops, or below even suborbitals, doing atmospheric hops, trying to land it upright. Then they're going to do an orbital loop around the Earth, come back and try to land it. It's nuts. So this thing is the rocket, or this is the actual like ship. The rocket, the booster is called Super Heavy. Kind of like Falcon Heavy or Falcon. Those are rockets. So Super Heavy is like just a let's see if we can show. There it is. So that's what the full stacked rocket will look like. So they stack the ship on top. So the bottom half here, the shiny part, that's Super Heavy, the booster, and the top part is Starship. You can see the black belly, which has the heat shield on it. Here's the top. It's got windows for the crew to look out. It's gonna be amazing. It's got these little stabilizers, the wings here, and then at the bottom, also it's got like 29 to like 34 or 33. Booster rocket engines on the bottom, the most the rocket's ever had. It's just, everything you think you know about a rocket, this is better than it. It is going to blow everything away, but they're in the testing phases. They've been blowing them up. They've been launching them. They've been landing them. And eventually in the next couple of years, they're going to be launching these to the moon. They're going to take people to the moon, take people around the moon. They're going to use it for flying people around the Earth to cut down on flight time from 24 hours to like 30 minutes. So if you want to go to Shanghai from New York, it'll take like 35 minutes to get there. Multi-purpose. It's amazing. But they have in the test site, they've been, here's like some payload. They can deliver payloads out of it, like telescopes. There's Starship coming back through the atmosphere, re-entering. That looks like Mars. Yeah, there's the Raptor engines. Raptor version 2. That looks more like version 1, I wonder. So here's the test site. These are the test prototypes. This is a real photo here. Some of these other ones were renderings. This is a real photo from Boca Chica. But they test stacked on a completed booster. And it's been really cool to see. But then they like took it down. They like put it up. They had a big publicity event, and then they took it apart. Big news. That's huge. They've done it before, but this is like, hey, progress, it's happening. We can do this. And Orbital launch is coming soon. So they're going to test that. They've never launched Super Heavy. It's never launched before. So pretty cool. Right now they've just been launching Starship by itself. Let's see. Oh, hey, what's up, Ryan? You're new to the stream. Good to have you, man. Do you have a shorter answer as to what your history is in following rockets and space-related news? I mean, the short answer is I'm just a super fan. I've been a huge fan of space my whole life, and I just do my best to follow and keep up. I read books. I follow as many people as I can on Twitter. I watch documentaries and movies and try to learn everything I can. That's the short answer. So I in my attempt to keep current with everything day to day, all the different outlets, the personalities, the companies, the agencies, what's happening every single day. I check Twitter. Space Twitter is the best place to do that. And it's my number one source of information in my head. So do my best here on the live streams on Wednesday night to actually kind of retain it and relay it so that everyone else who has questions can kind of learn a little about what's going on. So yeah, when did you become interested in rockets and space in general? Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I was a kid, the big thing for me is when I was 7. So it's 1997. So I'm 32 now. When I was 7, I saw Comet Hale-Bopp in the sky, and that changed everything for me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I remember coming home from dinner with my family and following it in the car window all the way home. I was like, what is that? That is so cool. And I just wanted to learn more. I'm like super red here too, by the way. I should probably change this light color. Yeah, Comet Hale-Bopp. My cousin also brought a telescope over when I was a kid. He showed me the moon and Saturn, blew my mind. So I wanted to know everything I could about space. It was like the absolute number one I needed to know. Let me see if we can change the color. How's that? I'll just go a little bit white this time. Cool. Yeah, I'm super into space. It's a number one thing. I love it. Best thing ever. And I'm trying to do more in my life. And that's why I started this YouTube channel, was because I wanted to know more myself. But I was like, well, I'm certainly not the only person who wants to learn more about space. There's got to be so many people, especially now in this boom of learning about, with new rocketry, new development, the space age 2.0. I'm like, there's so many people out there who might just be everyday people who are like, yeah, I'm curious to learn more about space. I don't want to go into astronomy or anything, but I kind of want to know what's going on. It's kind of the point of the channel. It's just kind of help get people into what's happening. And the live stream is a good way to do that, because talking about current events is great. Like what happened this week? Maybe you missed that tweet, or you maybe missed that announcement. And maybe we can just round up a few of those things here, and everyone can kind of pick up the goods. What are some of your, you got great questions, man. Thank you. What are some of your most memorable rocket and space related historical moments? Goodness, let's see. I mean, also, I'm going to go back to when I was a kid. When I was in 3rd grade, I remember watching at school, they had our classes move over to the classroom across the hall. They wheeled in a TV on a cart, the big fat TVs on the cart, and they showed John Glenn. At the time, he was a senator. He was launching on the space shuttle to be the oldest person in space ever. I think he was was he 70 at the time? But of course, experienced Mercury astronaut, crazy famous. And I remember watching that, and that was a huge deal for the space industry. It was like, we're increasing the age that we can send people to space safely, where it's not a risk. We're showing it's possible. and it's somebody who's experienced. You know, we've gotten far enough in the space industry where we can, someone who was from the beginning of the program was back to launch again later, and I certainly don't think that's the end of that kind of thing. I think it was a good marker. Unfortunately, it's been so long since we've done that. Kind of, you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing older people who've flown before coming back to space, who thought they were done, who are going back to space again. I think that's a huge moment. I remember that. I'll never forget it. And the space shuttle era itself was just so cool. I mean, the rate at which they launched space shuttles, it's every couple of months, they're just kind of cycle them out. Remarkable. So that's really great. Let's see. I'll never forget watching. Ron watched Glenn in Mercury. I'm that old. That's awesome. Right? Yeah. I mean, like, that's super cool. I mean, I definitely missed that one by a long shot, but it's yeah. I can't imagine, Ron. You got to see everything. Literally, you've seen it all. You know, and one other memorable thing for me, rocket moment, was, you know, just, gosh, was it 2020? Yeah, it was 2020 when they launched the first crew on SpaceX Crew Dragon 2, the demo 2, because they did demo 1, which was uncrewed. Demo 2 had Doug Hurley and I can see his face. Why am I blanking on his name? Who was on demo 2? Sorry, I'm gonna look it up. But it was the first test crew of Crew Dragon with people on it, and you know. Demo 2. Who was on it? Why am I forgetting his name? I'm sorry. Bob Benken. There we go. Got it. Yeah. I'm also there we go. My color temperature on my lamp was super warm. I forgot to change it back. I did a photo shoot today, and I had it on a very warm temperature. I look more like a human now. I'm not an Oompa Loompa again. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that, everybody. That's what happens when you come strolling in from a late dinner and you just kind of throw everything together in your streaming setup. Yeah, but I loved that first launch. That was huge because, you know, we hadn't launched from American soil since they retired the space shuttle in 2011. So, you know, it was almost, or was it 2021? I thought it was 2020. I'm forgetting already, but it was recent. You know, it's nice. Like I said, it's nice to return to things. And there's a lot of hope and inspiration in that. That, you know, maybe you haven't had a lull in a time, but you can always come back, whether you're an individual like John Glenn or you are a space agency like NASA. Like you might be out of the fight, you know, for some time, but you can always get back in the ring and do better. And I think both those things stick with me for that reason. Yeah. So catching up on the chat here. Thanks for the compliment, man, on the camera note. I appreciate it. So you're kind of the space nerd in the family too. Yeah, that's great. That's a good thing to be. I mean, like I was saying, it's going to become ever more relevant. You know, there's just, it's so much is changing so quickly. And, it's so hard to keep up with it, but I don't think people realize what it's going to mean to everyday life. This change in space flight and the new direction that we're going. A lot of people just dismiss it as some like government thing. Oh yeah, it's just fun. People go up there and do flips and come back, you know, big deal. But it's science. It's science. Every bit of it impacts what we do on Earth. I mean, they call them NASA spin-offs. They're the things that NASA has discovered or invented or innovated upon, technologies, researches that like actually like get brought back to Earth and create some stuff like, you know, microwaves. I think were one of them. You know, we wouldn't have a microwave without the space program. So if you've ever microwaved a bag of popcorn or reheated your dinner, you can thank the space program. So I think there's just stuff like that that is going to be, you know, advanced because of this new era. And people like you and I are going to be in our homes at our dinner table talking about this stuff. And people are going to realize like what's actually happening right now, what's happening tomorrow, what's happening next year, and how it's going to change their lives. I mean, come on. I mean, cell phones, you know, like this thing, space program, it works only because of the space program. You have cellular satellites up there delivering you, data. And everyone out there who says the space program is a waste of money should throw out their phone, because then they're kind of speaking against their word, you know? So it's like, it's up to us to kind of help educate people, and to be, the kind of couriers of knowledge and news for the space program. And so keep at it and keep sharing with your family. That's important. Sorry, that's my little tirade on that. Sorry, again, catching up with the chat. Really appreciate everybody's participation tonight. This is great. I thought being later tonight would mean that I honestly was expecting a dead stream. I was like, everyone's going to go to bed. But yeah, we got a couple viewers. This is awesome. Let's see. So your daughter has interest in space too, Ryan? Yeah, that's great. I have a young daughter as well, and I'm trying my best to kind of like feed that knowledge into her too. And I'm like, maybe you can be an astronaut. This would be great. But you got to let them lead their own path, right? Yeah, I mean, you never know what that can mean. Like some little conversation you might have with her right now, maybe you can share some space launches and rocket launches with her, get the excitement up. It's almost like a sports event. It's like the Super Bowl, but hey, watch this rocket launch. You never know, you never know what that might mean. She might go into like medicinal fields that support space flight or something like that, or uses data from space. And she's like, yeah, my dad showed me space when I was a kid and I loved it. And I just wanted to I realized that there was data from the space station coming back and it might help humanity. You never know. There's always a paper trail that can be traced back. Oh, James, sorry. I'm just getting to your comment about vibing with the red. I was vibing with the red. Here. So I've got hue lights in these lamps here. So here, bring some of the red back. Maybe a little bit. Let's dial it down just a touch. Got fun. Make it green. Hey, green's not so bad, right? Green and purple. I like that. Bring it up here. Hey, Mom, what's up? Okay. Space Shuttle Columbia. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a big space memory for sure. I remember hearing about that in my tech ed class as a 7th grader. Big deal. Tragic. And we just celebrated the kind of anniversary of that space shuttle loss. Yeah, I definitely think we're in the generation to see people go to Mars. It's definitely going to happen. I've of what I've seen, the ambition is there, and it's not just like hidden somewhere. The ambition is out there. From multiple points. Elon Musk, of course, being at the tip of the spear, but in so many other ways, if not right now, very soon, people will be pushing for Mars launches, and 100%. We'll be back in the moon. We'll be on Mars in our expected lifetimes. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be awesome. She's going to be an animal biologist. That's her interest. Because of her aunt. That's great. That always helps to have somebody personal, who's a good connection to a career path early on. That's fantastic. Josh, it's not easy being green. Yeah. Well, here, there. Now I'm a little more Kermit-y, or Grogu-y or Yoda. I don't know. I'm going off the rails. Wait, did Ron say it too? Or was that, I didn't see how closely you guys commented that in timing, but you both went the Kermit route. That's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, we're saying no donation thing? Yeah, I haven't quite figured that out. I'm gonna be honest. um, yeah. I mean, there's some things about streaming. This is live stream number 13 on the channel, and I've been doing my best to be here every week, every Wednesday night. I need to put some more effort into kind of sprucing things up. To be honest, this is kind of almost the same setup, same look I've had for the time, and it's worked. It's fine. It's kind of like the minimum. There's some things like figuring out like donation things. I don't have that big of a following yet, so it's hard to justify it. But maybe I can work on making that route happen. I do have a Patreon technically. It's I think it's linked in my bio on YouTube. Take it slow. We'll get there. Yeah. James, if given the option right now to take your wife and kid, would you go to Mars as a colonist? Oh my goodness. Heavy hitter question. My mom is on the stream. Don't let her hear my answer to this. We've had this conversation as a maybe a lighthearted discussion. I know people have asked me that before. Gosh, I don't know if I could justify it, especially with my kid growing up, specifically because of the gravity. I have no clue what that would do to someone growing up. I do not want to hurt my kid, because there's problems with people developing physically on a different planet. And Mars is like 33% of the atmosphere, or the gravity of Earth, I think. I'm forgetting. The moon is 1/6 gravity. Maybe Mars is 1/3. I can't remember. Something like that. It's either way, it's significantly different, and I don't want to figure out any sort of issues. Everyone's don't go to Mars. All right, I guess the answer for everyone else is saying no. I would love to visit. If you can guarantee I can come back, I would go, but I don't think I'd bring my family. Plus, my wife gets motion sick, so she wouldn't want to hop on a rocket. Yeah, it's getting crazy. Pardon me while I drink some water. I'm thirsty. I had some French fries at dinner that were quite salty. So let's see here. Did we get through all that? Yeah, okay, so going back to the notes on kind of space news, the pace of rocket launches is really remarkable. We're continuing to push that. SpaceX in particular, they've successfully launched and landed Falcon 9 rockets. I think it's 106 times, maybe 107 at this point. I think they launched another one yesterday. So was it yesterday? Excuse me, another Starlink. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, SpaceX is trying to break its own records every year, I think, for pace of rocket launches. They had a bit of a lull, I think because of fuel shortages, was it liquid oxygen, something like that. They couldn't get going for a while, but I think they're back on track. And it's amazing. It's great to watch. I think you can expect a couple other companies to pick up that pace. I saw Eric Berger, a space reporter, tweet today about the remarkability of pace. Let me find that tweet because it was really cool. Oh, wow. There he is, Eric Berger. And it's like they knew I was looking for him. Let's see. How recently did he tweet that? Maybe it was a comment? Tweets and replies. Pardon me while I find this on Twitter. Let's see. Dude tweets a lot. He's the ultimate space news person. It's crazy. Am I gonna be able to find it? I think it was Eric Berger. I'm not gonna be able to find it. I thought it was from today. Maybe it was yesterday. Either way, he was just saying, I think he commented on how remarkable it is for a company or an agency to launch rockets at an increasingly frequent pace. So, launching one rocket successfully, of course, is something. Launching 10 rockets in a row successfully is really hard, right? That's a crazy feat, harder than anyone ever thinks. But launching 100 rockets successfully is like mind-blowingly difficult. Like if you thought something was hard, times it by 1,000. Like that's what it's like. And then to go beyond that, it's just even crazier. So we're witnessing that happen right now, and it takes time. If SpaceX is launching one rocket a week, that's only 52 weeks, 52 rockets a year. But if you can increase it to 100 per year, you're doing multiple rockets every week. That's ruthless, absolutely ruthless. Never been done. I think that was maybe the point he was making. I'm not gonna be able to find that tweet. I apologize. Man, it's a bummer because it was a good tweet. I'm just going to do one last pass here and see if I can find anything on it. I saw that Rocket Lab, who is based in America, I think, but they launched out of New Zealand, or one or the other. They redid their logo, which looks really great. So look up Rocket Lab. They have a very cool CEO, Peter Beck. He's very, very fun to watch. They make good videos promoting their new rocket, Neutron. Electron has been launching successfully, science payloads, satellites and whatnot. They've done a lot of good stuff, but it was cool to watch them announce their Electron rocket, but their new logo. Sorry, let me get back to the chat here. Oh yeah, the other huge space news. That's right. So everybody is out to get Elon and SpaceX. That's without saying. Everyone wants to watch the person who's pioneering things fail. That's just the history of anything, right? And in this case, in space, it's Elon and SpaceX. He's doing something no one's ever done before. Of course, people are going to just naturally have an angst towards it, maybe even a hint of jealousy, or these people won't take people down. It's just people concentrate their energy on taking people down, whether they're right or wrong. Did I say Rocket League? Rocket Lab. Sorry. I hope that wasn't a Freudian slip. Rocket Lab. Anyway, so yeah, what was I saying? So there's a lot of negative news, negative press, even if it's unjustified, towards SpaceX. And the kind of the tabloid news has been ruthless with SpaceX. There was a rocket booster that was still in orbit. It was a used rocket, spent stage, second stage of a rocket that everyone was like, oh, it's a Falcon 9, it's SpaceX, and it's out of control, and it's going to actually hit the moon. And they made this huge headline kebab out of it. And they're like, all these tabloid kind of clickbait news agencies were like, SpaceX dumping garbage on the moon, SpaceX like burning, like deorbiting and burning up trash rockets on the moon, everything. I'm like, it's just crazy. From my understanding, one, if someone at SpaceX had a booster that was going to hit the moon, they would know it. It's not like some rogue derelict missile that it's going to blow up stuff. Like, they know exactly where it's going, and they have a reason for it going there. And stuff can happen. You can lose control of stuff. It happens. But generally, something that big of a deal, like a rocket stage, they're going to know where it's going. They're tracking it. Even people who are not SpaceX, they're tracking space junk. And the press was like, it's SpaceX. They're going to wreck the moon. I think also the other fun fact is it's actually quite common for stuff to crash on the moon. Space debris from Earth. It's actually kind of a good place to put it because there's no one there to hurt. It's just a desert, it's just like putting it in the ocean. It's probably better than putting it in the ocean and polluting the ocean, where there actually is life, marine life, and potentially risking human life too. You crash on the moon right now, it's totally safe. And you can clean it up later if you want, once we actually get there. But the funny thing is that all these news agencies were like, SpaceX. It turns out it wasn't a SpaceX rocket booster. And everyone got all up in arms about it. It was crazy. And, I guess it was a Chinese rocket stage. yeah, I don't know much more about it other than that, but I think it was just kind of like a classic case. And be careful what you read on social media and on the news. I mean, places all over were reporting on it being SpaceX, and everyone just wants to burn SpaceX. They want to bring down the top dog. They want to, see them fail when they're doing so much good in their industry. They'll do anything, and they reported something bad. They reported something incorrect and untrue, and they got a week's worth of clicks and views, and it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it wasn't true. So it's a huge bummer. But that was a big space news item, yeah. So, it's 9:40. I've been streaming for 50 minutes. Is that right? Yeah. I show the time there. Maybe I'll just kind of wrap up the stream with the thought I had, earlier. I mentioned I wanted to talk about astronaut training tonight because it's just a fun topic to talk about. It doesn't have to be long. Maybe we'll ramble for a bit. Who knows? But I thought it'd be a fun discussion. So hit me up in the chat with questions about astronaut training, because I've read a couple books. I've listened to some documentaries and interviews with people. Obviously, I'm nowhere near an astronaut, and I don't know anything about some of the details, but I know generally kind of how the process works. And I might be wrong, but it's still fun to talk about. And if we have questions, we can look it up, and we can try to learn a little bit about what it takes to become an astronaut. So first of all, I've got a stack of books here. I keep pointing to them, but you can't see them. These are some of the astronaut memoirs that I have. I have not read all of them, but I've read most of them because a couple of them are pretty new. Got Italian astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti. I got this for Christmas. Diary of an Astronaut Apprentice, or Apprentice Astronaut, sorry. Ron Guerin's The Orbital Perspective. And I featured some of these on the earlier streams when I used to do kind of featured reading. My absolute favorite, An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth by Chris Hadfield. I've read this once, and I've listened to it on Audible. My other favorite one, Spaceman by Mike Massimino. Just read this one last year. I had it forever. I do not know why I didn't read it years ago. I'm like really mad at myself. It was great. The Ordinary Spaceman by Clayton Anderson. Well known for applying to become an astronaut 15 times before getting it. And we'll get into what that means in a minute. Scott Parazynski, The Sky Below. I've started reading this. I've not finished it. And then lastly, I just got this book in November or October, whatever. Back to Earth by Nicole Stott. Experienced flown astronaut Nicole Stott. Multiple flight. She's great. She's very involved in a lot of things. I'm excited to read her book. But I found it signed at NASA when I was at Kennedy last year. I was at the bookshelf and I was like, you know what? I really want to read that book. I was like, there's chances are she's been in the visitor center at Kennedy. Certainly she signed the books that are here. And I opened up and sure enough, there it is. Nicole Stott. Hashtag crew, not passengers. I guess it's like kind of we're stewards of our home. We are a crew on planet Earth. It's time to protect it. That kind of message. Pretty cool. Oh, hey, Blake, what's up? I see you there in the chat. Is space camp for real or pandering? Both. I never had to go to space camp. I don't even know how you get into it. I thought maybe it was just a thing of the 90s, and I don't know if they still do it. Do they still do space? Has anyone else out there been to space camp? I unfortunately don't know how to answer that question. Let's Google it. I'm assuming there's a lot of like fake space camps out there. Spacecamp.com. That sounds legit. Huntsville, Alabama. Rocket City. Yeah. That sounds about right. Is that actually where it is? It looks like it. Book now. Register my children. Register my family. Register myself. Yes, guys, I'm going to space camp. Let's do it. Blake, you got me into this. I'm blaming you. Kayla, if you're still watching, sorry, but I'm going to space camp. Do you want to come with? Talia, she'd come with too, right? Yeah, Scott Kelly did write a great book. Did you read it, Blake? Endurance. It's been on my Amazon wish list for a very long time. I do have his picture book, Infinite Wonders. Also really great. But yeah, if you've read it, let me know. I'm assuming the story of him spending a year in space is full of stories. So astronaut training. The definition of astronaut is blurring a lot and ever more each day as days go by. Kayla says, let's do it. Let's go to space camp. Yes, let's go. Great. I've never been to Alabama, so I would check off another state on my list too. So anyway, the astronaut definition. Traditionally, astronauts are government employees. They are non-military members of the astronaut corps, at least in the United States. And I'm sure it's pretty similar in Europe and most European countries. And cosmonauts, which are Russian astronauts, they're called cosmonauts, probably much of the same thing. I think a lot of cosmonauts are military people. Just like in the U.S., there's a lot of military people who transfer to this, but it's a civilian corps of government employees, government agents, if you will. Space camp safe. Don't go to Mars. Okay. Will do. We'll I'm sure Alabama is much safer than going to Mars. So if you wanted to become an astronaut in the 60s, you had to be the best of the best. This is the first round of astronauts ever created in the history of ever. So, they had to pick, these group of people out of these, group. It was like a lot of military test pilots, because they needed people to test rockets. They were going to put people in a capsule on top of a rocket, which sounded insane. You're like, hey, let's find this controlled bomb. Yeah, let's put people on top of it. So at the time, when you were going to be the selected group of, what was it? 12 people, the original Mercury crew. And that started to loosen up over time. But again, you had to have this career, military career, test pilot, crazy experienced and fine-tuned person, good physical health, perfect physical health. John Glenn being one of them, Alan Shepard, Gus Grissom, these guys they're legends in the space program because they were chosen, going through rigorous tests. Over time, you got to the space shuttle era, you started having astronaut classes. NASA would select classes every couple of years. People would apply, and you get selected, and you get put through a candidacy program. And then if you made it out of the candidacy program, you become an astronaut. You're official. And those classes kept getting bigger and bigger. Why? Because the space shuttle could carry 7 people, whereas Mercury, you carried 1. Gemini carried 2. Apollo, you carried 3 people. Now with the shuttle, you can launch 7 people every couple of months. You need more astronauts. So over time, the gap, the needle you had to thread to become an astronaut started getting bigger. The qualifications loosened up a bit. You didn't need to be the perfect specimen. You could be an everyday person, but you still needed to be in good shape and meet some standards. You needed to be an academic. You needed to have some form of, career ambition to show, hey, like, I can do this, for this reason. I have this experience. I have this passion. It's, is it 7? Friendship 7? Is that really kind of the tie in there? I'm like a little bit rusty. My bad. Cosmonauts equals gotta go to space. Argonaut, gotta get off the boat. I gotta get off the boat. I'm not catching reference. Sorry, man. But yeah, the Friendship 7, that was the name of the ship. But the original, like, Mercury 7, is that correct? The Right Stuff, like, there's a movie, The Right Stuff. There was, like, a new docu-series called The Right Stuff, I think. I watched that. That was really great. It's like a dramatization, like a TV series. And I want to say it was on Disney Plus in the Nat Geo section. Is that right? I think it was. Recommended. Anyway, astronaut qualifications. So yeah, good health, academic mind, and a career and a passion that shows that you are willing to help advance humanity. And also the willingness to take risk, and to be on the forefront of exploration, period. That's kind of been the case for NASA astronauts. If you want to be a NASA astronaut right now, you have to wait for the window of applications to open. And typically that's every 2 years, give or take.
And then it's a very long, rigorous process. And right now they have thousands of people who apply for this. And and at this point now, it's been in such demand, they've actually started increasing the standard again. For years, you just needed a bachelor's degree. It was preferable to have a master's degree or a PhD, or a comparable military career. Then now in the latest class, they've required a master's degree, minimum, to have a chance to be able to apply. And I'm assuming there's no way around that. So you can't just be a nobody. You have to have an accomplished academic career or an accomplished career, period. So you need years of experience. You need, the physical fitness is important, but probably less important than it ever has been. But it's more the academic and the career ambitions. So having read some books, having watched interviews and documentaries, what I do know is, you know what else is good too? Podcasts. Podcasts are great. I also did Chris Hadfield's masterclass, which was super helpful. Really, really amazing. But there's one thing that you'll find, no matter what the background of a NASA astronaut is their passion for what they do. Guys like Mike Massimino, right here. He's a retired astronaut now, but he was in robotics and human factors, I believe is the field. So like, how do humans interact and robotics interact with humans? There's like a relationship between the two, and reactions for this robotics should react a certain way because a human is going to react a certain way. I think there's human factors that, it's not just like straight algorithm. It's like, how does a human interact with this? I mean, that's something that, somebody like Chris Hadfield not messing with as much because he was a test pilot for Canada. So, when you're a pilot, you have that skill set and you're really passionate about it. If you're a scientist in mechanical engineering and human factors and robotics, totally different passion set. And list goes on with anybody who's made it. They all have a wicked passion. I think there's a more recent astronaut candidate who's been selected. I think she's actually an astronaut now. I just don't forget her name. I don't remember her name. I've forgotten it. She was, I think, a Navy submarine engineer or a crew member, nuclear engineer in the Navy, I think. And she took a transfer out of her active duty to become an astronaut because her commanding officer said, "Hey, I think you'd be good at this." And she was like, "The only reason I made it here is I love what I do." It doesn't matter about my military career. It's just, I just love what I do. I think that's why they selected me. So if you want to become an astronaut, you need to have some minimum checkpoints on health and academics, but be really good at what you do and love what you do. So once you actually get selected or like picked, hey, you've made it through the rigorous interview process, which is rigorous, and they whittle it down to these groups, and they do these series of interviews and physical exams, and you have to have the right answers. It's kind of like your PhD defense or whatever they call that. I've never done it myself, so I don't know. If someone knows out there, let me know. But there's I'm totally brain lapsed. I'm sorry. Sorry, I totally brain lapsed in the middle of my thought. Maybe I'm just thirsty. Dissertation. Okay. Maybe we're back. Let me open up the stream on my end here real quick. So yeah, it becomes pretty intense. Sorry, I totally brain lapsed in my. Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit behind. That's okay. You got to make it to the end. You get selected if they give you the call and say, "Hey, we've picked you to become an astronaut candidate." That's kind of the key word. You don't become an astronaut once you make it through the interview process. If you've been whittled down from the 18,000 people who've applied down to the last 30, that's kind of the numbers, the scale of the numbers you're dealing with. You are now an astronaut candidate. You're not even an astronaut yet. And there's typically a 2-year process where it's like training and academic classes and preparations they put you through. And the funny thing is the acronym for it is an ASCAN, ASCAN, and they do call it an ASCAN. I'm not just being stupid. They actually call it an ASCAN. And NASA, of course, is full of acronyms. It's crazy. So they yeah, you go through that, and if you meet the marks, then you become an astronaut. That's like you've been hired. And if you don't make it, if you don't qualify, then you are kind of kicked out. You don't meet the standards, and you do not get the job. So even if you make it through all the interviews, you're still not guaranteed. You now have to wait like 2 years and do a lot of work to prove to NASA you can do it. Once you make it past that point, you're an astronaut. Doesn't mean you get to go to space tomorrow. You now become an astronaut. There are things to do as a non-flown astronaut. There's a difference between you and a flown astronaut, someone who's been put on a mission and flown to space. You get to work in your office. You have an office. You work in the astronaut office, and you get to do things. And the most important thing is you get to train. They train you constantly. Your job is to be trained. So you're doing medical training. You learn how to administer first aid, basic surgeries. Then you're learning how to do survival skills. You go to, oceans and live underwater in an underwater like pod for a little bit to live in seclusion and learn how to put on suits and, walk under the ocean, do a kind of a extravehicular activity in EVA outside in the water. They drop you in the winter frozen woods in the mountains and tell you have to get to from point A to point B in 3 days. Otherwise you fail. You have to survive. Here's like 1 pack of food, 1 pack of water. Good luck. See you later. See you over there. They'll drop people in the desert. There's survival training in all different types of environments. There's robotics training. There's underwater training in the pools at NASA, the jet propulsion or not neutral buoyancy lab. Correction. You get to put on your spacesuits and learn how to operate underwater. There's all kinds of stuff you have to get prepared for. If you're lucky enough, they select you for a mission. They assign you to a mission coming up in the schedule, in the rotation. You get assigned a crew, and then you start working with that crew. And that crew gets to train together. They build a rapport, build a relationship with each other. You have a commander. You learn chain of command and respect, mode of operation. There's a whole list of things. And again, you might not get assigned on a mission for years. It might be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years before you get assigned a mission. So if you're trying to apply to be a NASA astronaut to go to space next week, not going to happen. Years of preparation, years of practice, years of work, years of dedication. And those people who do it become career astronauts. And if you're lucky enough to fly, you hope that you get assigned to a second mission and maybe a third. If you're in Russia, a lot of those cosmonauts, they've flown 5, 6, 7 times. They have a smaller core, and they refly veteran astronauts constantly. There's some really, really experienced cosmonauts out there, and it's remarkable. So if you've been a multi-flight astronaut in America, typically there's a point where you start to say, hey, this is too much, time to retire. And most do after the third flight, I think. I think there may be in a couple. Peggy Whitson has flown a bunch of times. She's had an enduring career. There's probably a lot more out there I'm not remembering. Pretty crazy. But 2 or 3 flights is pretty average, and then people get retired. I think there's some people who never fly, which is sad because you go through all that to try to go to space. You never get assigned to a mission. But it's just what it is. That will change because once we get into the Artemis program, you're going to get a big rotation with huge crews, and they're going to send so many more people to the moon and to the space station. They're going to need more astronauts. The core is going to get very busy pretty quickly. So, shifting gears. It's now 10 o'clock, so I'm just keeping mindful of the time. That's what it takes to become an astronaut. If you've made it through that multi-year process, eventually you go to space. But now the definition of astronaut is changing. With commercial space flight, you've got Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, SpaceX, all launching people into suborbital space or orbital space. People with zero experience, no career, completely clueless to what it takes to become an astronaut, who either pay a sum of money and they get a seat and they end up in space for 5 minutes and come back, or they get brought in and they get trained for 6 months. Survival techniques, operating the equipment on board a ship, and getting to know your crew a little bit. And then you get launched and you can go into space for 3 days and you come back down. And you're kind of an astronaut at that point. It's shortening and it's easier to get to space. I'm sure if you add up the cumulative amount of money it took people to become NASA astronauts, education, traveling, houses. It'd be millions of dollars over the decades you become an astronaut to become an astronaut. Now it's probably a lot less. It helps to be wealthy, but the ticket to get to space might be $250,000. Go to space, drop a lump sum of money. They give you some maybe basic training, a week or two. Here's what it takes, what you can expect. Here's some survival techniques you might want to try if something bad happens. But it's kind of like going on a plane, you know. Everyone who's flown commercially sits down in the plane. They spend 5 minutes going over the safety procedures. They train you how to survive before going on a flight because it's important. But they don't give you a week's worth of training or 6 months or 10 years just to go fly from New York to LA. You know, it's changing and the pace is changing. So if you want to become an astronaut now in some of these new methods, and there's certainly going to be more providers like Sierra Space and who else is doing stuff? Boeing, CST-100 Starliner. You know, they're going to be creating new methods for people to go, and they're going to be cheaper. They're going to be easier, and you don't need to be anyone more different than you or I. So if you want to become an astronaut, you have to choose which kind of astronaut, and they don't have definitions for that. And that's been a big topic of discussion with all these new flights. What does it mean to be an astronaut? If someone goes up there for 3 minutes on a suborbital hop, they don't go around the Earth at all, they're not on a mission, are they really an astronaut? Or did they just fly to space? Are they a space tourist? I'm sure they're going to figure that out in the next few years. You have to decide, like, what are you going to be? Who are you going to become? So you really have to consider, if you want to be an astronaut, like Mike Massimino or any of the other people that I showed you the books for, you really have to decide, am I willing to put in everything that it takes to become someone like this? Again, it goes all back down to, do you have the heart? Do you have the passion? Do you have the determination? The diligence, the tenacity to get in there and do everything it takes to be the best of the best, to, be selected. And I mentioned Clayton Anderson. Where's his book? This guy applied 15 times over however many years it was to submit applications before he was even selected at all. I can't remember. I've read his book. It's been several years, so I've kind of forgotten some of the stories. But he's a very, like, what the right word is. He's very forward. He's very direct. I think he may have expressed some frustration in there, and I would too if you kept trying. There is something to say about your level of endurance and applying 15 times to become an astronaut. I wonder what his the synopsis here. Doesn't say. But that's remarkable. So most people who apply to become an astronaut don't become an astronaut. Let's talk about, she was on Inspiration 4 as well. Dr. Cyan Proctor. She is an excellent example. Someone who's qualified professionally. She's an actual doctor, for, I don't know what her field is. I don't remember. I'm sorry, I forgot. But she's accomplished academically. She was an analog astronaut, which means, you're kind of like a simulation astronaut on Earth. And, geographical study and exploration, it's just nuts. Huge career. She applied to be an astronaut, didn't make it. She wasn't selected, but she got picked later because of her experience to go on Inspiration 4 and be a pilot. She was also a private pilot as well, which is another huge resume piece for her. But it goes to show it takes different things. Like NASA may not want you because you were one against 18,000, but the right mission comes along, you may be one against really nobody, and you're the right person. You never know. And I think along with the title changes, the processes for being selected are going to be very different. NASA will retain its infamous nature of being selective, highly selective. That career will continue to exist and will evolve, I'm sure, over time. But NASA's also at the limit of their budget, which is determined by Congress. And I think it's like 21 or 23 billion, something like that, this year. It's really not that much if you think about it. A whole space agency has to operate on that, and you're not just talking about astronaut paychecks. All the facilities of NASA, there's like a dozen facilities, all the employees there, all the missions, all the probes, all the rocket development, all the R&D. It's got to be paid for this by that same budget. They don't have a lot of money for people. So if they want to expand the Corps to be, 500 people, if we're a really big spacefaring species later, they need to get that budget up, and it's going to change stuff. But I'm sure their criteria will change as well with that. But anyway, yeah, let me tune in the chat here, see if anyone's been a bit quiet there. For those of you stuck around, I appreciate it. Any questions about astronaut training, astronaut selection? What does it take? I think the coolest part about when you become selected for a mission, you get to go to neutral buoyancy lab and you get to train in the water. Let me find a picture. NBL. That's in Houston. I would like to see it. It's the largest pool in the world. Neutral buoyancy lab. There we go. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. Here's Wikipedia. This is NBL. So it's a big pool, and you get to, they have a model of a full-scale model mock-up of the space station, or some segments of the space station underwater. And it's the deepest, most volumetric pool in the entire world. The most water in one place indoors. And over here you see these like yellow cranes. Those are, I think they use those to like lift and put astronauts in the suits, like in the water. You can kind of see one right here. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor. It's like really dug in there. Oops. It's on a rack. They kind of put people in there. And they have scuba divers supporting under. It's a really cool thing. But once you get selected for a mission, you start training in here because you have specific tasks you need to practice. And you can't just wing it up in space when you're on a spacewalk installing something on the space station or repairing something on the space station. They have the exact thing in here, and you have to learn how to use the tools. If you drop a tool, this is what happens. If this goes wrong, this is what happens. And they do it 100 times. I don't know. It's a ton. It's a lot. You have to practice it and get it right. Very intense. Very, very intense. So yeah, I'll probably cut it off there. It's late and I am thirsty. Oh wait, James, I heard you say that, and I was curious what the underwater pods and training was actually like. Yeah, there's some really cool videos. I can send you some, James, if I can find some. Yeah, it's really, really neat to watch. Chris Cassidy has a documentary on, it's in Nat Geo on Disney Plus. And that came out. It's like 6 episodes, I think. Really great. I loved it. If you're willing to stick that out, you can learn about his journey to becoming an astronaut. And he was a Navy SEAL who became an astronaut. Really, really cool dude. And he shows his training in NBL because he had a very specific mission. So if you want to watch the underwater stuff, you can even just search the episodes and scrub to the right part. You can watch him training underwater. They had to get that mission right. They were repairing the alpha magnetic spectrometer on top of the space station, and it was like if you don't fix this, it will break forever, and it's like a multi-billion-dollar project, and it can't be used, and it's on you. So good luck. Also train really hard. Is it weird being underwater like that? Is more terrifying? Is that more terrifying than being in space? I mean, I think as an astronaut, you do it enough so that it's not terrifying, whether you're in water or you're in space. And that's the point of doing it a bunch of times. You eliminate that fear. You learn to train that out of you. So I would say if you're to be an astronaut, it neither should bother you. Doesn't mean you can't be afraid, but you know how to handle that fear. I would assume that if you're in a controlled pool, it's a lot less terrifying. You've got this ecosystem in your suit. It's heated. It's got water. It's life support. Air processors, fans, temperature cooling suit on you. For your body temperatures. It's the same one they use in space. So you're being in water. You can feel the movement of the water if you've moved your hand. In space, you feel nothing because there's nothing there. There's no air. There's no water. There's no substance. There's no matter. I'm sure it's probably harder in some ways from one or the other, but is it weird? Yes, probably weird in both. I would love to do it. I would love to try it. I've seen people do tours of NBL, but they have not got the chance to go in the pool. I think you have to be a scuba diver or an astronaut. So, and you have to wear a diaper. Yeah. There's a name for that. There's an acronym for the space diapers, and I'm trying to remember the acronym for it. It's like a garment or something. Yeah, a MAG. MAG, maximum absorbency garment. That's literally what it's called. It's basically a space diaper. If you have to be out there for 7 hours and you have to pee or or worse, gotta go in your pants. There's no other way. There's no escape hatch or venting. But yeah, a MAG, a maximum absorbency garment. Because you're there so long. That's right. Yep. Spacewalks are typically 5, 6, 7 hours long before you run out of air. But those tasks are very grueling and very long. Come back really sweaty. You know, you're doing a lot. You're moving a lot. You're exerting. I don't know about you, but last time I was on a 7-hour car ride, I had to go to the bathroom at some point. I don't know how many times it happens, but maybe the adrenaline kicks in and you kind of hold it. But they do a lot of preparation to prepare you to, I mean, you have to breathe pure oxygen before you go in. You have to exercise before you go out so you can like clear your blood of like oxygen bubbles, I think, or nitrogen bubbles. That's like lethal if you go into space or go in an EVA, a spacewalk. Yeah, space diapers. They're a thing. Oh, goodness. All right, cool, guys. I'm going to call it. I am tired. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I really appreciate your viewership. If you are, of course, if you're new, grateful that you're here. Thanks for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. It's always a good thing. I've got some plans for videos in the future here, and I'm trying my best to work on them. I am, of course, I'm trying to keep up with my daily life right now, so my production rate has been slow, but streaming, I'm trying to keep as consistent as possible. So, if you ring the notification bell as you subscribe, after you subscribe, you'll get notified when I go live on your phone. It'll send you a little, I think I still have it. Do I? Nope. Orbital Alliance is live, so would appreciate it. You guys all have a great week. We'll be back next week to talk more space stuff. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Time in the United States. And yeah, keep paying attention to space news and be on the lookout for Starlink passes, the satellite train. There's a new one, and you should be able to see it occasionally in the right place, the right time. It's kind of hard to look for, but there's some apps and some websites out there. But check it out because there could be some good viewing. So yeah, keep it real, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll be back next week for Orbital Alliance right here on YouTube. All right, guys, take it easy, and of course, we will see you all on the other side.